How to find products that do 30 grand in 30 days. Today I want to share with you the strategy behind how I found a product that does 30 grand in 30 days on Amazon. And I'm going to put a screenshot here for you, and you can see this was taken 2 weeks ago. It's dated there, and that's directly from my one US account. And those sales may fluctuate. It might come down in the 20s, might just go over 30 some months. Now 30 grand is revenue. I want to be very clear about that. That is not profit. Usually you're actually going to see profits between around 20 and 50% on FBA, just depending on the costs that you have to incur to sell that product. This product has about a 30% profit margin. Would it be much more? But it's in a competitive area. And that's what we're going to be discussing today, is specifically the high demand, high competition type of niches. So this strategy is specifically a home run strategy. So you're not looking at doing multiple lower volume products that have the same end result. You want to focus on one, and you want that one product to do extremely well and generate a lot of revenue. And so what I'm going to do is outline the criteria I use to build this product so you can replicate that. We're going to be changing quite a few things because, as you know, if you've sold on Amazon for any amount of time, it's getting more competitive. Especially as we move into 2020, we really have to start thinking differently and moving in a different direction and researching in different ways to our competition. Also guys, I will be dropping a high potential product in a quick frame somewhere in this video for you. And also, what I wanted to touch on is today is focused on high demand products. So that's what we're looking for, high revenue. But I am going to be giving you 7 other methods to finding products, especially going into 2020. That's going to be in the next video. So if you're not subscribed, consider doing so and click those notifications. That way you'll be notified as soon as I post that. So let's jump in. Because we're looking for high revenue generating products, there's 2 things you need to focus on. Number 1, that you can sell a lot of units every month. And 2, that you can do that at a decent sell price as well. The higher those 2, the higher revenue per month, and of course a percentage of that will be your profit. But to find that market, to come across that market, regardless of your method or what research tool you use these criteria. Number 1, a sell price of $30. That is your minimum, and you want to go above that when looking at high revenue generating products. Now, this won't be for everyone because some of you might be restricted on capital or wanting to do lower cost items to start, which is fine. But for this strategy, I recommend you go with a higher price, because that in itself is a barrier to entry. It's going to help you with thinning out competition. Higher prices also allow higher margins in general. Number 2, a minimum daily sales number of 25. Again, that might seem really high because classic criteria is about 10 per day. But remember, you want a high revenue generating product. Minimum monthly revenue of 20 grand. Yes, you want to do 30, but just to find the market, use this as your base. Max product weight of 5 pounds, not 1 pound, 5 pounds. Remember, it comes down to profit. If it's profitable, it makes sense. So don't limit yourself to doing these really small products that everyone else is looking for. Open up and think outside the shoebox. Max product size at 18 by 8 by 14. That is our large standard size. Now, in the next video, we are going to talk about heavier products. We can talk about a lot of very cool strategies. But to keep this simple, that is your max size you want to use in general for high demand markets. And a max reviews number of 300. Remember, we're not looking for like a little niche here. We're looking for quite a high demand product. And because of that, often those high demand areas have quite a bit of competition. So you're going to need to have that max reviews number at a reasonably high level. Remember, this could still bring in competitors with 50 reviews, but that should be your max, just to see that, okay, there is an entry point here, that customers will accept products with lower reviews. And guys, all of this relates to that product I showed you earlier, that screenshot. This is where that product falls. Now keep in mind, this is the quick step. This is very fast. You punch in the criteria, you research it. You can see on screen here an example of how we would do this on Helium 10, just dropping in those numbers there and search and come up with a whole lot of ideas, save those ideas. But this is a quick step. This shouldn't take much time. Next, this will take a lot of time, and this is segment targeting or improvement potential. Now, once you have 5 really good looking ideas off of those criteria, you need to determine which of those you should actually start with. Now, depending on the product's nature, you have 2 options here, and these are absolutely crucial. Number 1, can you segment that market and build that product to serve a specific group of customers? And you serve them best. Now, we found a couple products through this research, and I want to share these with you just to show you exactly what I mean in terms of segmentability. And you can see that one of the products we found was this one, and this is a pH meter, and it basically measures the pH in water. So this one is not going to be very segmentable because people buy it for very similar reasons. In fact, the customers are probably all very, very similar. But if you look at this product, this is a locker kit. And this was another one we found here. And this one would be very segmentable because you would have locker kits for boys. You would have locker kits for girls, and actually you can see a lot of these targeted more towards girls, so maybe there's a gap for boys, and you could look more into the market. But that's what I mean about segmentability. Can you, from this high demand area, actually segment the market and focus on one customer the best? Now, in some cases you cannot do that. In some cases you're actually not going to be able to segment the market so well, for example in the pH meter area. Now, in that case, if segmentation is not plausible, then can you make the product significantly and visibly better? Can you improve it visibly? You need to be able to show how you've made that product better. This is very, very important for your main image and being able to stand out in what's becoming more and more of a competitive market. Again, I'll show you a few examples here of other products we found, same criteria. This one is a ultrasonic jewelry cleaner. Would not be impossible to differentiate. I don't know enough about it, but it doesn't jump to mind. Like I can't see how is this going to stand out massively from all the other jewelry cleaners. Maybe a different version, but I can't see any bundling or any easy way to visibly make it different. Maybe a different color, etc. But we want to be able to add real value. And there definitely will be ways to add real value to this product, but it doesn't jump to mind as easily. Whereas this one would be much easier. This is pegboard hooks, actually a pegboard hook accessory kit, another one we found, which looks very promising. And in this case, you can see that you have all these different components. You have different hooks and trays, and so you could add in different ones. You could definitely very easily add real value and visibly show on your main image how you've made this product better. Again, guys, these are things you're thinking about as you narrow down those products that you have found. This is an absolutely crucial step. If you don't get this part right, generally it becomes very difficult in terms of product sustainability and maintaining sales and not having to pour all your profit into ads. So I want to give you a couple strategies on segmenting or improving products. These are things you can do with the current products you have, or as you get to this point using this criteria. These are ways you can start thinking about positioning your product or focusing on a certain segment or improving that product. Number 1 is a premium. This is where you actually offer a higher priced, higher quality item in that market. Most people run for the bottom. You see $15, $20, but what about a $40 option? What about a $50 option? The premium area where you charge more for those customers looking for the best of the best, and those customers are out there. You can see in that pH meter example that we have a lot of like $15 options, and then the $78 option is selling very well because people want those extra features or the other functionality in that more expensive unit. Loss leader. Now this one is actually the opposite. So while everyone tries to differentiate and out differentiate each other, you come in and say, you know what, this market, these customers, they don't want more value. They don't want more value and higher prices. These customers want this product in basic form for the lowest price possible. That's what they want. What you do is come in, do a high volume order, so your cost per unit's really low, and you offer this at the most competitive price in the market, and that's how you take your market share. People don't often speak about this strategy. There are gaps at the top and the bottom of the market, but you generally don't want to try and sit with everyone else right in the middle. Again, here, note that you're going to need a lot of capital, because here you're going to need to be able to buy enough to bring that per unit cost way down. More is better. And this one's underlined because this is one of the strategies I used in that product I showed you in the example I'm sharing with you today that does 30 grand a month. More is better is one of the strategies I chose. Do customers just want bigger and better bundles or more accessories? I think this is actually best shown by the GoPro accessories bundles, where people always just buy the one with the most. Whatever it is, they just buy the one with the most. And customers do think like that. They want the thing with the most. If it has more, it's better value. In my case, what I did is I looked at specific accessories people really wanted with this product that they were also buying and frequently bought together, and that other units were lacking. And I saw in the competitors, in reviews, people would say, I wish it had this. And so what I did is I incorporated those other features to my product, and then I showed that on the main image. I made my differentiation visible. Most wanted bundle. So is there a frequently bought together trend? We just touched on this, but make sure it's a trend. In other words, it's not just shown on one product, but it's actually across a lot of the top competitors. That tells you customers in general all want that type of bundle. Remember, if it's frequently bought together, different listings, both have FBA fees, both have to be marked up. So that overall cost is very high. If you do it in one listing, one bundle, you can still be profitable, but offer that at a much lower sell price to the customer. Specific buyer, I also focused on this one with that same product. Is there a segment of the market that you can focus on and provide a better solution to? Or is there an underserved segment? Here you need to focus on use cases. So what is the product used for? And what is it used for most? And which people are using it for that? And those are the segments. Those are the people you need to focus best on. So very important. It's also going to be verified or confirmed by reading reviews and also the keywords that people use to find that product. For example, they might say pegboard hooks for X, and that's what your niche is or who you focus on. That's where a lot of demand is, and you build your full bundle or your full offering for that niche, and you represent that very well on the main image. And that group is who you serve best. And when they come to Amazon, they choose you because you're speaking directly to them. You're giving them exactly what they want. So although you're in a quite competitive market, you're choosing a corner, and you are the best at that corner. And in terms of my product, if I speak to this, my product is bought by businesses, by individuals, by men, by women. It's bought for indoors, it's bought for outdoors in general. It's an extremely competitive market. But what I chose to really focus on is the outdoor use of my product and the accessories that would work best for outdoor, and also mainly men. Although women also buy the product, it was more focused towards men, because I knew if I included certain accessories and positioned the product in a certain way, even called the product a certain thing, they would love that. They would choose this one. That would match their needs perfectly. And so I'm not trying to sell to businesses. I'm not trying to sell for indoor. I'm trying to sell specifically for outdoor, and I know I'm going to capture the men's outdoor market with that product. Issue fixed. Is there a common problem with all the products that has not been fixed that you can fix? And if you can fix that for the first time, that is of course a huge opportunity, and people will choose you because you've overcome that problem. That problem will be very prevalent in reviews. You'll see it often, people saying, I wish it didn't do this, I wish the corner wasn't like that, I wish it would fit this, etc. So it will be prevalent, and if you can fix it for the first time, Maybe you even source a new version of the product, a first to market version. Huge opportunity. And that leads really well into the next one, new version. So here, can you actually find a version of that product? You know that product sells really well on Amazon. Can you go find a version of it that is not on Amazon yet? And specifically, or in the best case, it's very difficult for others to source that same version, and you are first to market with that variant. What that will do if you manage to do it is build in sustainability. And this is key because others cannot easily source the product. Maybe it's not on Alibaba. Maybe you source from 1688. Maybe you source locally, made in USA. Maybe you source locally, made in UK. Maybe you source from Vietnam or Pakistan or somewhere else and also avoid tariffs. These are things you can do as well. They're harder to do, but that's exactly why most people don't do them. And that's also where you can differentiate yourself from everyone else. That's where you can build a sustainable competitive advantage. Now we looked through all of the segmentation or improvement, and based on that, you're going to find some of them cannot be segmented or improved enough. And so you narrow down to 3, at least narrow down to 3 at this point. If none of them feel solid on segmentation or improvement, start again. That's why this step is so early, because it's absolutely critical and it saves you time if it doesn't work. There's no point going and even looking at profit or manufacturers if this doesn't work. You need to be able to stand out, especially moving into 2020. You're now going to move on with your top 3 products or even top 2 products if that's what you're left with here. Now with the remaining products, we need to look at barrier to entry. We need to look at those markets in 2 main ways. There's a lot of other ways, but I do think these are very important and not spoken of enough. Number 1 is the number of low review sellers selling well. The more of this you see, the more accepting customers are of low review offerings. This tells you customers are focused on value, and it gives you confidence in launching in that market because they're not just focused on the high review numbers or the lowest price. They are open to innovation and they're willing to choose the best value item. A good example of this would be if you see that a product with 67 reviews is selling almost as much as a product with 300 reviews. That will give you more confidence in entering that market. It will tell you that market entry is a lot easier. Secondly is number of ways to search for this product. This definitely isn't spoken of enough, but the more ways that that customer can actually search for the product, the better. And I'll explain why. In some cases, there's only like one way to search for the product, as you'll see in the jewelry cleaner here. Jewelry cleaner, there's not too many ways you could actually look for this product. Ultrasonic jewelry cleaner ultrasonic, cleaner for jewelry. It doesn't really open itself up to too many keywords. Whereas markets like the pegboard accessory kit is going to have a whole lot of different keywords, sets, kits, bundles. It's going to have a lot of different ways you can search for that same exact product. So why is that important? Well, there's 2 big reasons. Number 1 is it gives you multiple places to rank your product on Amazon. You don't just have one page on Amazon that you're focusing on ranking your product for. You can rank on all these different pages, maybe in different places, but all your eggs are not in one basket. It's across these different search terms. Number 2 is PPC costs. Think about PPC as an auction. Amazon is the auctioneer and every seller is a bidder. And if all the bidders are bidding on one art piece, what happens? On one keyword, what happens? That art piece becomes very expensive. The real estate for that keyword becomes extremely expensive. But if there's hundreds of art pieces at the auction, not everyone's bidding on the same one. If there's a lot of keywords on Amazon for this product, or a lot of ways to search for the product, you can bid on all different keywords. People are splitting up their ad budget on different keywords, making the cost per click on each in general lower than if everyone was bidding on one main keyword. And lastly is profit margin for the remaining products. The first thing you want to do is work out the COGS, the cost of goods sold. And this, remember, is your manufacturing, international shipping, let's say China to USA, and also the FBA fees per unit, that full cost of selling the good. Then what you want to do is work out the profit in dollar terms. To do this, you're going to deduct the COGS from your proposed sell price. Really simple. Sell price minus a COGS. That gives you your dollar profit. This part is also not spoken of enough. The higher your profit in dollar terms, okay, not the percentage, not profit margin, profit in dollar terms, like $8 or $12 profit per unit, the higher that is, the better. And here's why. FBA fees and advertising cost. FBA fees only really go so high. Yes, when you do bigger and heavier products, they go up a bit, but generally most sellers are going to pay around maximum $5 on their FBA fees. I'm talking fulfillment fees, not referral, fulfillment fees. And on the other end, your ad cost. Ad cost only goes so high, like an extremely expensive keyword might be $4, etc. But most of the time, people are bidding around $1 on keywords, little less, little more. Because those costs are in a certain range in dollar terms, if you have a $20 profit in dollar terms, then bidding $1 on a keyword is not very much. But if you have a $4 profit per unit, and $1 in ad cost, that is a massive piece. That's 25% of your profit. And so you can see how that works to your advantage when you go with higher price items and when you start to expand your profit in dollar terms. But back to the point of this, we now have our profit in dollar terms. And lastly, work out your profit margin. So to do this really simple, you take that profit in dollar terms, you divide it by your sell price, and you times it by 100. And that will give you your profit margin as a percentage, which most people speak about. Here, you really want to aim for 40% or more. And the reason you want a 40% margin is, again, just to counteract ad cost, which can be pretty significant, especially in the beginning in your competitive markets. And lastly, just to pull it together, once you have found those ideas, you run those products through segment targeting or improvement potential, then your barrier to entry, and lastly profit margin. And that will help you choose the very best product here to move forward with. Lastly guys, I want to touch on the old criteria versus the new. Remember, the old criteria looked at sell prices between $15 and $25, usually around $20. You had the weight of 1 pound or less. You had the shoebox size rule. You had the number of competitors, if you use tools like this, of 5 to 20, and a profit margin of 30%. That is your classical criteria. But I urge you, as you move into 2020, and if you are looking for products that do 30 grand a month, think a bit differently and use these criteria. A sell price of more than $30, weight of up to 5 pounds, give yourself room here. Size 18 by 8 by 14, again large standard size. Number of competitors I would mark as irrelevant, and the main reason for that is simply because at this point in time, where number of competitors would be relevant is where you're selling the same product. And really at this point, there's no option to do that. If you want a sustainable stream of income from any product, you need to make sure it's very different and unique. You need to build in sustainable competitive advantage through segmenting or product improvement, and a profit margin of 40%. So that is the criteria I use to find that product that does 30 grand in 30 days and how you can replicate that with other products. Also, standing yourself apart from the competition as we move forward into 2020. If you did enjoy this, please drop this video a quick like. That helps me a ton. There's also a lot of discounts on software tools below if you want to help the channel out for free. Remember guys, I will be giving you 7 other strategies in the next video. So please do subscribe below and turn on those notifications. That way you'll be notified as soon as that comes out. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're making some great progress, and I'll see you in the next session.